Well, dear learners, I welcome you all in this session of financial accounting course, which is meant for the BCom students, and this session is exclusively on the topic journal. This is the ninth lecture in this series, and dear friends, you all might be well aware that today, in this era of competitive business environment, there are numerous transactions that are taking place. So it is next to impossible to remember those business transactions, because when there are limited number of business transactions, or we can say that when the size of the business is relatively small, in that case, to some extent, the human being or the entrepreneur or the owner of the business can remember the business transaction. But when the volume of the transactions is very large, when number of transactions are huge in number, then it is really very difficult to remember all those transactions as and when required. Therefore, in order to record the huge volume of transactions taking place in day-to-day life of the business, we need a set of books where we can record the business transactions in a very systematic and in a very scientific manner. So when we have a set of book where we can record the business transaction, so this set of books will definitely help the entrepreneur to record the business transactions very systematically and in a very sequential manner or in a chronological order. It means that the transactions that have taken place first will be recorded first, and the transactions that have taken place at a later stage will be recorded at a later stage. So this we will discuss in the today's lecture, that what actually the journal is all about. So this journal is nothing but it is a set of book in which the business transactions are recorded first. So this is the book which is called Book of Original Entry, and this is the book where the business transactions are recorded first in a very systematic, in a very scientific manner. In this book, all the regular business transactions are entered sequentially. It means in a chronological order. The transactions which have been recorded first will be recorded first, and the transactions which have taken place at a later stage will be recorded at a later stage. After that, the transactions are posted to the ledger. So when the transactions are once recorded in the book of original entry, that is in journal, then the concerned accounts are posted into ledger. It means the concerned accounts are posted in their respective accounts. This process of posting the transactions into ledger will be discussed later. When the transactions are recorded in the journal, they are called as journal entries. So, well friends, when we record the day-to-day business transaction in the set book of accounts, so this is known as journal, and the transactions which are recorded in the journal book is called journal entries. So as per double entry system of bookkeeping, every transaction affects two sides, that is debit and credit. So the transactions are entered in the book as per the golden rules of accounting to know which account is debited and which account is credited. So, well friends, the golden rules of accounting we have discussed in the earlier lectures, but just for the sake of learners, I would like to just have a glance of the golden rules of accounting as far as the different types of accounts are concerned. So, well friends, as you are now well aware that we have three types of accounts, that is personal account, real accounts and nominal accounts. So, when we talk about personal accounts, so again personal accounts are classified into three types of account, that is natural personal account, then the second one is artificial personal account, and the third one is a representative personal accounts. So, now we will discuss the natural personal account. So, the accounts of natural person is called natural personal account. Say for example, if I say the account of Mr. Ram, account of Mr. Shyam, account of Sita, account of Radha. So, these are the accounts which are related to the natural personal account, because Sita, Radha, Ram, Shyam, these are the natural personal account. Therefore, the accounts related to the natural person is called personal accounts. Then the second one is, and the golden rule of accounting for the personal accounts is debit the receiver and credit the giver. So, this golden rule of personal account will apply irrespective of it is a natural personal account or it is the artificial personal account or it is the representative personal account. Then the second one is artificial personal account. So, when we talk about artificial personal account, so artificial personal accounts are related to the accounts of different organizations. Say for example, if I am saying that account of Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, account of a particular hospital, account of a particular trust. So, any organizations which have been created by act of law is called as artificial personal account. Say for example, Maharaja Surajmal Institute account, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University account. So, these are the accounts which are called artificial personal account. Then the next one is representative personal account. Well friends, when we talk about representative personal accounts, it means these are the accounts which are related to the individuals. Say for example, if I say that outstanding wages account. So, of course, outstanding wages account is reflecting the account of an individual who has already rendered his services to the organization, but he has not been paid so far. Therefore, unless his account is settled, his outstanding salary will remain outstanding. That is why it is called as outstanding salary or outstanding wages account. Next one is real accounts. So, real accounts are related to the accounts of assets. So, well friends, there are two types of assets, tangible assets and intangible assets. Tangible assets are those assets which we can see, which we can touch. Say for example, furniture account. So, furniture, this is a table, this is a furniture. So we can see the table, we can see the furniture, we can touch it, we can touch it. So tangible assets are those assets which we can see and which we can touch. But as far as the intangible assets are concerned, intangible assets cannot be touched, intangible assets cannot be seen, but intangible assets can be felt. Say for example, goodwill. So goodwill cannot be touched, goodwill cannot be seen, but we can feel goodwill. Copyrights. So copyright we cannot touch, we cannot see, but we cannot feel. Patents. Again, patents is an asset for the organization. Patents we can feel, we cannot touch, we cannot see. Therefore, the assets which cannot be touched, which cannot be seen are called intangible assets. The golden rule of real account is debit what comes in and credit what goes out. So it must be noted here that the golden rule of accounting, as far as the real accounts is concerned, it will remain the same irrespective of the tangible asset or intangible assets. The golden rule will not get changed. Then the third one is nominal accounts. So nominal accounts are those accounts which are related to the expenses and losses, revenues and gains. Say for example, if I say salary account, if I say wages account, if I say rent account, these are the accounts which are related to the expenses. Then losses account. Say for example, if I make the sale on account of credit to Mr. X, Y and Z. I made the sale to Mr. XYZ on account of credit for a period of 1 month. So after 1 month, Mr. XYZ should make the payment to me because I extended the credit facility for a period of 1 month. But if he could not make the payment, it is a loss to my business. So any amount which I could not recover from my customers is a loss to the business. So any account which is related to the loss is also categorized as nominal account. Then accounts related to the revenue, accounts related to the gain are again categorized under nominal accounts. So if I make an sale of rupees 20,000, it is an revenue for the business. Again it is nominal account. If on account of making a sale of rupees 20,000, if I turned this transaction into profit, say for example, the cost of good sold of this transaction was 17,000 and I made a sale of rupees 20,000 out of it. So it means I turned a profit of rupees 3,000 because the cost of goods sold of this transaction was 17,000 and I made a sale of rupees 20,000 from this transaction. Therefore, I turned a profit of rupees 3,000. So again this profit is also categorized under nominal accounts. So the golden rule of accounting for the nominal accounts is debit all expenses and losses and credit all revenues and gains. Therefore, these three types of accounting helps the accountant in order to record the business transactions in a very systematic and in a very significant manner. Then types of journal. Well friends, there are two types of journal. First one is general journal and the second one is special journal. So we will discuss both the types of journal in detail. Let me discuss general journal. So what actually the general journal is all about? So general journal is one in which a small business entity records all the day to day business transaction. Well friends, when the size of the business is relatively small and when the total number of transactions to be recorded in the books of the accounts are limited, in that case the entrepreneur or the owner of the business can maintain general journal and he can record all the day to day business transaction in this particular general journal. So day to day transaction are recorded in the general journal in case where number of transactions are limited, in case where the volume of transactions is limited. Then special journal. So in case of big businesses, the journal is classified into different books called as special journal. So transactions are recorded in these special journals on the basis of their nature. So these books are known as subsidiary books. Say for example, if purchase book is there, sales books is there, purchase return book is there, sales return book is there, bills payable book is there, bills receivable book is there. So there are many books which are called subsidiary books. The process of recording transaction in the journal is called journalizing. Well friends, when we record the business transaction in the books of the account, so this process is called as journalizing, and the book in which these transactions are recorded is called journal, and the entire process of recording the business transaction in journal is called journalizing. The transactions are recorded in the journal in the manner of their occurrence along with a suitable explanation called narration which supports the entry. Well friends, we have already discussed that the business transactions are recorded in the books of the account in a chronological order or in a sequential manner. It means the transactions that have taken place first will be recorded first and the transactions that have taken place later, such transactions will be recorded at a later stage and with a suitable explanation. So these transactions are recorded in the books of the accounts with a suitable explanation that we call narration. So well friends, when we record the business transaction in the book of original entry, we give a brief description of the transaction and this brief description is known as narration, because the benefit of giving the brief description of that particular transaction is that one can easily come to know that what for this transaction is recorded. He need not to go through the entire aspect and the transactions in depth. Only just by going through the brief description which we called narration, he can easily comes to know about the depth of the transaction. The steps involved in the process of journalizing are as under. The first one is identification of accounts. So, well friends, this is the first step of journalizing process, that whenever the transactions that are taking place we need to identify the different types of accounts that are affected. Say for example, if we have discussed that if an individual has started business investing rupees 1 lakh, in that case we need to identify the types of accounts that are affected. So in this transaction we identified that there are two accounts which are affected. The first one is cash account and the second one is capital account, because when we record such transaction, when an individual start its business, it means when he will record the business transaction, he will apply the golden rules of accounting. And the second step is recognition of account type. So here in this transaction we need to recognize the types of accounts which have been affected. Say for example, in this transaction, two accounts were affected, cash account and capital account. So here we need to recognize the type of accounts which are affected. So here cash is an asset for the business, and accounts of all the assets are categorized under real account. So therefore cash account will be recognized as a real account. And then the second one is capital account. So this capital account is reflecting the account of the proprietor, account of the owner. Therefore this account type is personal account, because the owner of the business is a person and account of any person is known as personal account. So this is what we have recognized from this transaction, that the two accounts which were affected in the journal entry in the transaction, that is cash account and capital account. This is the first step. Then the second step is that cash account type is real account, because cash is an asset for the business, and capital account is personal account type. Therefore for capital, rule of personal account will be applied, and for cash, rule of real account will be applied. Then the third one is applying the golden rules of accounting. So the next step is that we need to apply the golden rule of accounting. So the golden rules of accounting in case of this transaction is that for cash, that is for real account, debit what comes in and credit what goes out. So here in case of real account, what is coming in for the business? So it is an cash is coming in for the business. So debit what comes in. So here cash is coming in, therefore cash account will be debited. And as far as the capital account is concerned, so capital accounts belongs to a person. It means capital account belongs to the proprietor, the owner of the business, and the owner of the business is a natural person. Therefore the rule of personal account will be applied here, and the rule of personal account is debit the receiver and credit the giver. So here when 1 lakh rupees is coming in the business, so who is giving that amount to the business? The owner of the business. So therefore the person who is giving, his account must be credited, and the person who is receiving, his account must be debited. So in this transaction the owner of the business is giving the amount of rupees 1 lakh to the business, therefore the owner is the giver. So we will apply the rationale of the personal account, debit the receiver and credit the giver. So here capital account, the owner is giving the amount to the business, therefore the account of owner will be credited. So the journal transaction which will be recorded in the books of the original entry is cash account debit to capital. Journalizing process. So well friends, there are some transaction in which you find there are more than one debit or a single credit, more than one credit for a single debit, or multiple debits and credits for entry. Such entries are called a compound journal entry. Well friends, as I had mentioned you that in case of compound entry, there are more than one account, either such accounts are debited or such accounts are credited. So we can discuss this with the help of the example. Say for example, if the business has made a sale of rupees 1 lakh to Mr. X on credit basis for a period of 15 days. So after 15 days, when we requested our customer to make the payment, he could not make the payment and he requested us to extend the credit facility for another 10 days. So we acknowledged his request and accordingly extended the credit facility for another 10 days. So again after 10 days when we requested him to make the payment, he could not make the payment. So despite repeated request, the amount could not be recovered from him. Then in order to recover the amount from the customer, what sort of strategy we adopted is that we thought that okay, this is better to recover the amount from the customer, and in order to recover the amount we must give some temptation to the customer. So we offered him an discount of rupees, say for example 10,000, that okay, we made the sale of rupees 1 lakh, now you settled your account against rupees 90,000 only. So we offered him an discount of rupees 10,000. So our customer wanted to make the payment, his intentions were very fair, but because of financial position he could not make the payment. So now he thought that yes, I am getting the benefit of rupees 10,000, so I should take the benefit of this situation. So he somehow arranged rupees 90,000 and made the payment to us and finally settled the account. So here when we have received rupees 90,000 from our customer and settled his account, so here we have occurred a loss of rupees 10,000. It means we have given him a discount of rupees 10,000 to our customer, which is a loss for the business. So in this case the journal entry would be cash account debit 90,000, discount account debit 10,000, and to customer 1 lakh. Customer may be Mr. X, Mr. Y, Mr. Z, anybody may be the customer. So here, because while settling this account, three types of accounts are affected. First one is cash account, second one is discount account, third one is the customer account. So here cash which is coming in for the business is an asset, therefore we applied the rule of real account, debit what comes in. So cash was coming in, therefore we debited the cash, and then we had offered discount of rupees 10,000 which is a loss for the business, and accordingly we applied the rule of nominal account, because accounts of expenditure, losses, revenue gain comes under the nominal account. So we debited the discount account, because the golden rule of accounting in case of nominal account is debit all expenses and losses. So therefore we debited the discount account. And the third one is customer account. So customer is a natural person. So we applied the rationale of the personal account, debit the receiver and credit the giver. So here the customer is making the payment, he is the giver, therefore his account was credited. This is the format of the journal: date, particular, ledger folio, debit amount and credit amount. So date, so in this column we mention the date of recording the business transaction with the month in which the transaction took place. The year is indicated at the top only once and not repeated with every date. Then the particular, so in this column the description of the account is written, that is which account is debited and which account is credited. Then in the very first line we write the account which is debited, and then in the extreme right of the same line and column we write DR. So, DR stand for debit, which indicates debit. In the next line, after leaving some space, we write the account which is credited, starting with preposition to. So, for credit, for any account which need to be credited, we start writing that with a preposition to. So, format of journal. So, format of journal, a small narration for the respective transaction in the third line, which explains the transaction is written. And as far as the ledger folio is concerned, we know that transaction entered in the journal are then taken into ledger in their respective accounts. So, in this column the page number concerning to the entry in the ledger is maintained. Then DR amount and CR amount. Well friends, in the DR amount, the account which is debited by the amount is written, and in CR amount, that is credit side column, the amount to be credited for a particular entry is written in the same line where the concerned credit account is written. All the columns are to be filled at the time of recording the transactions in the journal, except the ledger folio column, which is filled when the transaction is posted into the ledger. So, when the transaction will be posted into the ledger, then the page number will be recorded, that at which page number this transaction has taken place. So, this was all about the lecture on the topic journal. So, I am pretty sure that the students and the learners might have enjoyed this session. So, I extend my sincere thanks to all of the learners. Thank you very much.